Good evening. Good evening. I think, and I don't understand why Zambian leaders they fail to believe what God warns beforehand. Last time I just shared with you a video of terror everywhere, and I'll need to quickly go back and say what and share with you just one of the videos that I declared to say Hakainde Chilema, I saw terror everywhere according to God's revelation. And this terror everywhere is the order of Hakainde Ichilema's leadership, where I said God revealed to me that UPND had a secret uh, election where they elected Kabesha Mulilo as a replacement to Hakainde Ichilema, and which I still want it to be clearly revealed to me, because Kabesha Mulilo is a civil servant who is being used and whose battle with the Lungu family has been defeated by God's revelation, where I said they won't bury Lungu unless they actually invite me to be in between. Now today, the terror everywhere profess the playbook of Hakainde Ichilema according to that dream is unfolding, and the opposition party, even when I made a call for them to unite as one, they do not want to seek for prayers. I know they can claim that they pray. The God that they pray is not the God that is handling these political atrocities. The God that they pray, he doesn't know about what lies behind this democracy. This democracy of terror is a democracy that is so dangerous, that doesn't need only prayers, they need dangerous prayers. They don't need bishop and pastors, they simply need God's sent anointed messenger to break the chain of death and terror. I want to quickly say that South Africa is under attack with violence towards foreigners, towards refugees, towards asylum seekers, towards everyone else. And under the pretext of saying they are taking their jobs, when indeed, even me as a refugee, we are suffering, we are not taking any job. The little land that we find when we are not farmers back in Lusaka, we are forced to do a bit of gardening in order for us to find food. But one would say that we are taking their jobs. Well, as the land is available, it's available for everyone. They cannot see land, but when you plow on that land, then they think that you have taken their job. Today, many Ghanaian has left, Malawian has left, and the things are rotting in the farms of white men. The very Dudula and the Match and Match, is it Zandile and the Zatisa, is it Zuma? They cannot go and work to pick up things that are rotting in the farm like potatoes. So I want to say that in everything that God warns of these presidents, they are not listening. Who bewitched them? Is it because they are agents of the same system that is persecuting us, and they allow violence to proceed as the order of the day just to find an excuse of being sellouts. Because the call for Africa to unite was made clear to Ramaphosa in my 90 days last year of National Africa prayer. Is clear, was actually clear for them to understand. Not only that, I've written to them emails. I've written to Hakainde Chilema 12 volumes calling for him to unite Africa together with Ibrahim Traoré, but they close their ears and play the playbook of an enemy to deceive people that they are leaders, whilst they are just puppets. Because if indeed they were leaders that were meant to bring us together, they were supposed to heed to God's warning. And today we are living in our homes, fearing of 30 June as something that is going to explode to make us disappear from this earth because of leadership that do not want to listen to God. I want to pray that the gods that fought for Iran when Donald Trump threatened to clear Iran on that night when this midnight cry began, where I started praying for Iran and God stood by Iran. And may God stand for everyone that has taken courage to remain in South Africa because they belong in Africa, because Africa is one black race. So how can it be Afrophobia? Well, xenophobia is used against the Africans instead of being used for the white Europeans who have defined themselves as African. The Africans, American that are here, who Donald Trump called as refugees in America. Why are they not being pushed out? So you may see that it is all planned to put terror everywhere in Africa. I may not have more information about Zimbabwe, there is terror. I may not have more information about all these countries around the world, around the continent of Africa, there is terror. Nigeria, the Muslims that are being alleged to be killing Christians are all planted by America to create a sense of fear in everyone so that Africa cannot unite. I want to appeal to you who is listening to say, God, He knows what is happening today. I said this, listen to this prophecy. This was 10 months ago, if you can see here, when I was running a 90 days national prayer. Terror everywhere. Notice how God operates. I'm here to tell you to say the God that we believe is a God that has revealed himself to me. Many times we find ourselves struggling to distinguish between falsehood and the truth. Yesterday, I actually was talking about this prophet, Joshua Ingila, of Nigeria, who actually tried to discredit anyone who had the prophecy of death regarding Edgar Lungu. I want to explain something before I read the scripture. What defines a true prophet is a truth that is rejected, not truth that is embraced by everyone else. You should know that if a truth is being embraced so easily without rejection and persecution, you must know that you are entertaining the people. Those who understand who Jeremiah is, Jeremiah was a speaker of truth and the most persecuted person in the world. He has been arrested, I don't know how many times. He has been rejected, wished to be dead. But those prophets that come to praise the evil leaders, they actually claim themselves to be truth because they are given an opportunity for larger gathering. And they are given an opportunity to use government medias in the name of being true prophets. It is time for Zambia to examine what God has spoken through me. I may not actually say I'm a true messenger of God. I'll always say that I'll say what God has told me as the truth. And that truth stands to be examined. And I may not discredit myself to say I can be among those who are saying lies. No. Because whatever I wrote, whatever I said, it has stood the test of time from the time when I was 19 years. And when I was 19 years, when I was speaking things that were going to happen and which are still happening today, I never knew that the God that I worship, He will keep His word true as revealed to me in a vision. So listen, Jeremiah, when the priest Pusha, son of Ima, who was the chief officer of the temple, heard me proclaim these words, he ordered me to be beaten and to be placed in chains near the upper Benjamin gate in the temple. The next morning, after Pusha had released me from the chains, I said to him, the Lord did not name you Pusha. The name He has given you is terror everywhere. So this is Pusha, who actually ordered the arrest of Jeremiah. Not only ordered the arrest, but he ordered even his beating, and he chained him. You see, truth reminds me at a time when I went to Chiluba to tell Dr. Chiluba that you'll be arrested. Chiluba ordered for my arrest through Emmanuel Mwamba. When Emmanuel Mwamba told me to wait by the gate, he never told me to wait for Chiluba. He told me to wait for police, and police, I just saw the police from Woodlands coming in the park. They told me, you are under arrest. Let's go to police. I know the time when I was going to police, it was the time that I realized that I'm arrested. And I realized that I'm arrested for the sake of preaching the truth. So from that very day, when I was arrested, 2nd May 2002, also Chiluba was arrested the following year. And it took 4 years. The 4 days, the 4 nights I was in cells. It also took 4 years for him to be tried. 2004, same month, same date. He was actually ordered to pay back what he stole through the London High Court. You see what? When you arrest or you do anything wrong to a manservant, you are going to do what? You are going to face terror everywhere. Terror everywhere. This terror everywhere is something that is going to be the order of the day. I want to believe that God has been a protector of his ministry. And Hakainde today, he has closed me in exile. He still wants me to be in exile because he has refused God's warning. Therefore, as terror surrounded Chiluba, as terror surrounded Sata, who made me to go into slavery, as terror surrounded Lungu, terror everywhere, this terror is also with the government of Hakainde Chilema. Because Jeremiah said to this pusher, son of Ima, who was the chief officer of the temple, he said, the Lord did not name you pusher. The name he has given you is terror everywhere. So now I want to say to Hakainde Chilema, his name, Hakainde Chilema, is not God's name. The name is terror everywhere. This terror everywhere, I want to say that I remember giving a warning through Daily Sun in 2015 to say all the presidents, if they won't listen to God, they will die one after another. And no one in the world is concerned about Zambia, because Zambia is the only country in the world that is declared a Christian nation. It's the only country in the world that has lost 6 former presidents, and no former president. Hakainde is alone. Today, Hakainde is fighting to bury the former president so that he can use the gesture as a symbol of peace between him and Lungu. But that is not God's way. I've been asking Hakainde Chilema to say, may he recognize God's ministry now by calling me so that I can actually bring this family and Hakainde together. But his rejection, it means his name is terror everywhere. So the Lord himself said, I'm going to make you a terror to yourself and to your friends, and you will see them all killed by the swords of their enemies. I'm going to put all the people of Judah under the power of the king of Babylon. He will take some away as prisoners to his country and put others to death. So now, this is verse 4 of chapter 20 of Jeremiah, where the Lord says, I'm going to make you a terror to yourself, meaning Hakainde Chilema, you become a terror to himself for rejecting God's warning. And this terror shall be to his friends also. This has found fulfillment. We found that Zalomis's daughter, she was arrested for murder, but during the weekend Sunday, she was released privately. And the journalist who tried to take the picture of the vehicle that took her from the prison during the weekend, from detention, he was also arrested for capturing that vehicle's number plate. Also, the one who is involved is the CR1, the prophet of HH. The son married to the daughter to Zalomis. All of them, there is terror. So when God says, I'll place terror to your friends, Mangala Zalomis, the chairperson to the the Electoral Commission. So I want to say that when Mangala Zalomis, she's in trouble, Akainde is not at peace. When Siawan, the prophet, the hired prophet, is in trouble, his son, married to this same family, is also arrested. That means with the friends, it's terror everywhere. So this is the terror that God does to those that reject God's warning. So he says, even the people, they'll be under the power of Babylon. You know, Babylon is a symbol of slavery, economical slavery under America, under Vatican, World Bank, and IMF is what shall prevail over every country in Africa that reject God's warning. What is God's warning? Africa must unite. Africa must own its natural resources. Every country must have its natural resources. We are having issues like South Africa, where Africans are fighting their brothers who are blacks as foreigners. That also has been heard in Tanzania and other parts of Africa. Sponsored riots against each other, whilst they leave the whites who are foreigners free from such attacks. So this is the terror everywhere. When you go to Zambia, the government is actually killing its citizens for discovering gold and for mining gold. It is called illegal when they are the owners. But if that is done by the Chinese or the Americans, it's not illegal, it's investment. I don't know who really blinded us. You have heard for yourself. I even warned about Akainde Chilema to involve me in the burial negotiation with the former president, late President Lungu. And he refused to do so, and it has not succeeded. In this 90 days warning that I said Akainde Chilema was terror everywhere, it is actually an addition to already prophecies that had mentioned among the videos. Now I couldn't have time to go through those videos, which I did not mention the title of the vision as Terror Everywhere, where I saw Hakainde being replaced by Kabesha Mulilo. And it was announced to me in a vision that Kabesha Mulilo is the architecture of violence, terror everywhere. So I'm going to give you another video that you are going to listen to. When Zambia is going under intensive terror, also South Africa is under intensive terror of xenophobia against Africans, which is Afrophobia, and that has made Mbalula, the minister, to speak out of frustration and anger. This is a sponsored violence, sponsored terror everywhere to make sure that leaders must not unite. And you know what? If Ramaphosa heeded to my core when I wrote a book to him, the 3-volume books that I sent to him, to say, the United States of Africa is the answer. This violence to Africans was not going to be called for. The terror that we are faced against each other was not going to raise. If former Vice President Nevas Mumba to the MMD President Manawasa, if he listened to what I appealed to him, to say there are two things he must do. He must either go back to the pulpit or take a political role that is of a nature of Julius Malema. He declined, and today is busy opposed to the opposition Mundubile, saying that whatever the crowds that are going to be, that Mundubile is pulling, they do not materialize to winning the elections, because they'll end up crying that the elections were rigged. It's an announcement of terror everywhere, an announcement by the pastor promoting violence and promoting rigging. I want to appeal to the man of God to say, please listen to God, because you are going to be humiliated. You are going to be written off from the history of Zambia. I heard someone who actually gave you a very good advice to say you must lead by examples as a man of God. Let's not read politics, but let us read spiritual warnings against Vatican using our people to believe in democracy, which is not existing. So listen to this of Fikile Mbalula actually trying to calm down the high level of terror against Africans from South Africa.
You, as the media, you are shying away from that. I don't know because you are not asking for votes. Because you need to educate society. Why do you support a man who stand on a podium and call other Africans amakwerikweri? It's like being called a kafir. Will you agree? By a white man in the street today calling you a kafir. That will call for a revolution. There's no white man who can call me kafir in a democratic state. It's an insult. Even if he can say to me one-on-one, we will bend down and fight in the streets. You, as the media, you are shying away from that.
I'll take you to another terror, which I want to prove, to say, when I say terror everywhere, because the opposition leaders and the presidents of this country, Zambia, they are not listening. Hakainde Chilema stopped the rally at Kanyama. By stopping the rally by attacking the rally at Kanyama, I beg your pardon, by attacking the rally at Kanyama, it's a sign that Hakainde Chilema, who promised that PF was violent and him is peaceful, there's no violence, there's no killing of each other, there's no fighting, is a messiah. He's no longer a messiah. We look at what he did to the independent applicant Garin Kombo in Mazabuka. He was attacked in daylight, his shirt torn, and the very people who attacked him later accused him again. So you look at what UPND is happening, which I actually prophesied 10 months ago, to say I'm seeing terror everywhere. And recently when I said that these elections, they will tend to be Tanzania formula. And I've been calling for opposition leaders to seek prayers, but they still trust to say they can go through without prayers. I'll be watching. Listen to the complaint by Fred Mwembe. Listen to this video and make your conclusion if the prophecy of terror everywhere is not true.
In Lusaka province this week, and it was our last day in Lusaka today. We were scheduled to have a rally in Kanyama, stroke Makeni constituency. The rally was supposed to start at 15 hours. Before that time, 3 minibuses full of UPND cadres with pangas and all sorts of weapons descended on the rally. They beat up people, scattered everybody, injured some people, stole the phone of our candidate for Makeni, Mrs. Harriet Waria Mulenga Katanekwa. They destroyed the vehicle for our Kanyama candidate, Comrade Virumba. A number of cadres from the Socialist Party and the People's Party in general were injured. They got police reports, reported matters to the police.
Which police?
Police in Kanyama. The police had to come in and fire shots. Yes, shots had to be fired today.
It was that serious?
It was serious.
But how do you know those were UPND?
They came even with some branded vehicles. Some of the vehicles were branded. Yeah, some of the vehicles were branded. And a few of them have been apprehended by the police. So it's not the guesswork. No, they were UPND. This is not strange. That has been the behavior of UPND. Over the last 5 years, we have participated in by-election, and almost in every by-election, we are under attack from UPND. So many of our vehicles have been destroyed by UPND. But not a single UPND cadre has been arrested. Even these who are arrested today, I can bet you by tomorrow morning, you will not find them there. None of them will be prosecuted. None. We are actually the prosecuted ones for defending ourselves. But I wonder why the UPND and its leadership cannot learn from what happened to the PF. Violence is not a political tool for winning elections. If anything, Zambians abhor violence. And no violence should be committed in the name of politics. There is no political doctrine that justifies that type of violence, that type of behavior. It's barbarism at the highest level. But you can see the cadres were organized. They were mobilized to come and do what they did. Buses were organized for them, hired for them, 3 buses.
Maybe it was a clash?
It's not a clash. It's not their day. Clash about what?
Clash is when you know nobody is supposed to be there. Or everyone is supposed to have the right to be there. They have no right to be there. It's not a clash. It's violence that was organized, orchestrated. And it's unjustifiable. And if the UPND wanted to have a future in the politics of this country, that type of behavior should stop. Those cadres involved in such violence should know that their days are numbered. They have got only 47 days to go.
Finally, I want to showcase of Kasonde Mwenda in a video that explains to me the detailed terror in fulfillment of prophecy, where I said I saw Hakainde Chilema. His name is terror everywhere. And the one thing that you must understand is that Hakainde Chilema will never feel ashamed because it's not him. He's been pushed to do those things by our colonial masters. And this prophecy is real. And even the leaders that talk about democratic governments like South Africa, Zimbalula put it, even the opposition, when they say democracy allows us to do this, do you know what is democracy? Ask me what is democracy. I'll tell you that democracy is terror everywhere. What is happening in Africa is something that you have not yet seen. Africa will remain in a terror as long as they reject to unite with Ibrahim Traoré. Look at what the UPND did, destroying the hotel that Ibrahim Ndubile was in and being arrested but released immediately. And those from the opposition, they had to protest for them to receive that bond. Listen to this and watch. If prophets of terror everywhere is not unfolding each passing day, I don't know, 2 weeks remaining to the 13th of August, terror everywhere.
Campaign kumutatoshi wati ero baisa tutumina amafoni kuti roba UPND makada baisa paroti pali ba president wa plan mungwizo baisa mukutoba so beto fumina meeting kuisa tukafana twasangana abafuma kona aba inji iyo baishire bana baambire kutoba abalumendo abekala mukati n'abale wa miyamo baishire fuma panso ko bati ninji mwesa mukutobera ekintu kiri tekene eyo baambire okuwoma uli omulumende omo oti Alex ero nabambi ababiye ambo kumwe nababiye amasanja omumolo uyo umbi omulumende nokwenda talenda watu wamwe mishevye ekumutwala na mumotoka so kubafisha pa polisi babapera ma medical report ekuya ku hospital bayalembesha fenso babati mukese mailo mukese sainisha so mailo pasante twalibwerera kuja mpaka basaina na ma medical ekubwera pa polisi balisa abeta abo bonse balisafira okuti babekate nikibonse obena abakitireevyo bali parapene pa polisi balisafira okuti babekate twalandako batwimisha nevyongo parapene pa polisi bakapokola baletamba.
Yes, that you have watched. Now it is time for you to know that terror everywhere is prophetical. And when I'm calling for Hakainde Hichilema to listen to God, when I'm calling for Cyril Ramaphosa to listen to God, when I'm calling for Julius Malema to listen to God, when I'm calling for Jacob Zuma to listen to God, when I'm calling for Boko Duma of Botswana to listen to God, when I'm calling for Kasonde Mwenda, Brian Mnduvile, Makebi Zulu, and even the very Freddie Mwende. I saved Freddie Mwende, the first volume, The Airport Trap, in his office, The Post. If he remembers, he must call for my God. I want to say this prophecy is a means to make African leaders to realize that God is not just watching things unfolding, but is calling for people to fear his name and to keep his commandment and to seek his protection for Africa to come out of economical slavery. May God bless you. May God bless you as you contemplate on calling for a life-changing prayer in your leadership, or else the 6th president that have gone, the 7th has remained with an open grave in fulfilled prophecy. So that open grave is waiting for Hakainde Hichilema. Whether you close it, it has been dug. It's for you, Hakainde Hichilema. Or else, if you want to avoid it, seek him now, and you are going to live above 100 years. May God bless you. May he bless Africa as a whole.